Hello, hello out there in lovely YouTube land. How are you all today? I am Steve with Retro Tech. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here and hang out. Now, look, if you're here and this is not a live broadcast anymore, I have a pinned comment below, and you can skip out the beginning section of this stream and get straight to the first CRT. I'll have that comment pinned below, so please, if you want to skip and go straight to the CRTs, look for the pinned comment and click on the timestamp there. So before we get into all the CRTs, I'm gonna say hey to everybody, and also I'm gonna go through my plan for this video and this live stream and give you guys some updates. So how is everybody doing today? How are you all? Wonderful people. It is Friday, and I'm ready to have a good time. Good to see all you here. What's up, Stu? What's up, Legendary K4, CRT TV Retro Gamer? Hello, Edward. Great to see you here. X Stories, welcome in. Steve's Assorted Stuff, awesome to see you here, my friend. I will see you live at Retro World. Race, welcome. Longtime viewer, Race Aroni, Arcade Ages, always here too. Good to see everybody. Thank you for jumping in. Please, if you are here live, do me a favor. What's up, Mark? Do me a favor and drop a like on the live stream. That way we can get the reach out there a little bit. I appreciate your time and your second and your contribution. And second off, you see the title of today's video. I have a very first look at the CRTs that I will be having available to buy to anyone that is coming to Retro World Expo this year. So that's just the first thing. If you're wondering where these CRTs will be available, it is at Retro World, and that, folks, is going to be this September. The first shows open at Friday, September 12th. I will be there when the show opens Friday, September 12th. You can find me at the Retro Tech Retro RGB booth. That's where I'm sure I will be. And I will have CRTs, the ones you're going to see here, set up, running. And today we're going to look at about the first half of these CRTs that I've finished. And I still have a little bit more time, so I'm going to do a second half and a second half stream episode like this later on. So please, if you want to know where to go, this is the place. And also, Legendary K4 asked, am I doing a panel at Retro World? Yes, I am doing another amazing panel. It is going to be, I've already been thinking about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a panel on Saturday. I'm not sure the exact time yet. It will be a 1-hour panel, and it's actually going to be a workshop. It's not just going to be a panel. Let's see if we could just pull over my guests' explanation if I'm even here. Let's see who else is going to be here. I'll be there with Tito, Macho Nacho, so here I am. This is me, obviously. So I'm listed here as guest. I don't think it's published the schedule yet. At least I haven't been given any notice on that. So that's when you get to the show, there will be a list of expo events you can do and workshops and things. I will have a workshop open to anybody who's in attendance. You can come. I will have CRTs open. I will be going through about 15 minutes of basics on CRTs and an overview of them, safety stuff, and then I'm going to actually get into the CRTs and do some live adjustments. And I'm hoping to invite some people there that wink wink nod nod Steve to help me, and another guy, he might show up. His name is Dell from Delusionals Arcade. I'll ask them if they want to help me out, kind of work the crowd and stuff, because I want to really make this workshop open to everybody who's in attendance and do some live demonstrations of exactly the issues maybe that people are having, like a yoke reseating. That was a big topic last year. So awesome. Misa Swak's got a PVM-1354Q 1405 that might need some attention. That's awesome. Yes. He sent some stuff in. Thank you. And I will be glad to work on the 1405 and any of them. You guys could go check out the Patreon pinned in the in the description of this stream if you're interested in getting some service work done. But so that's where the CRTs are going to be available. Now, the point to this stream today is what I'm going to do is I have documented my restoration work on all the CRTs. Today I have 5 files that I've completely uploaded everything on, and these are a mix of CRTs from standard home TVs up to PVMs, and we're going to go through each one of those. But I will, on a later date, come in here and I'm going to chop out each section of this live stream specifically about that monitor so that whenever the person comes to the Retro World Expo and wants all the information, they'll be able to go to a QR code above the TV that will be listed on a little sales sheet. They'll scan that QR code. It will open up the file of all these photographs that you're going to see on that specific TV, and then it will have a link or a file in there of a video of the cutout where I'm explaining the specific restoration work in further detail that was done to the unit. That way people can go around and they have these awesome kind of history and stories and everything that you could know about your CRT. If you're buying one of these, you'll know it all, that I can provide that information for you. So I want to do that. That's the point of the stream today. So I hope you guys are ready for that. And that's what we're going to do. And I think that's all the housekeeping. So let me put a link over here to the Retro World Expo in the chat. And guys, I will be hanging out all weekend in the expo. And then after hours, you can find me a lot of times in the Marriott lobby. So if you want to come hang out, say hello, you can do that. And I don't have any other, here's the thing, I don't have any other scheduled conventions. I'd love to get another 1 or 2 scheduled. I just don't have anybody else I'm really working with at this moment that runs a convention. So if you're at a convention and have any connection to people who run it or know, get a suggestion offering where you could suggest something, you could suggest Steve from RetroTech, me, to come to that convention. You could even share this live stream or my channel and let them know that I am available to talk to for bookings and pretty easy to get in touch with. So that's all available. It's just I've got to have another showrunner that I get a good relationship with for that to happen. All right, guys, we've been going now for a few minutes, and guys, if you do have questions, I will leave some time later for questions because I want to get through this and start. Once I get into each CRT, unless I see specifically a question or comment about the CRT we're looking at that time, I'm going to just breeze through things. That way the clips for each one of these CRTs is kind of cleared and usable. So I am going to turn off the jazz because I don't want to be a distraction. And again, I appreciate you guys being here today. Thank you, everybody. We're going to now... I'm going to pull up my files over here, and we're going to do a screen sharing. Let's see what we've got. Okay. So this is the point where I'll put the timestamp at about 11 minutes. Hey, Jake, long time no see. Good to see you here in a live stream. Also, before I do this, actually, I'm going to say one more thing. Congratulations to our good buddy Zez. Our good buddy Lewis, he cannot be here today because he is getting ready for his wedding. He is getting married next week. So he couldn't make it. Too much preparation work, plus those... Oh, excuse me, a bit of gas there. Especially since he has 2 twin young daughters and now about to be married. He will not be here with us this week, and he may even have to miss next week, depending on what his honeymoon plans are. I'm not sure. Unless his honeymoon plans are to hang out with us, which I doubt it. So, give a shout out to Zez if you're watching this and you want to drop him a comment, something funny, go for it. He'll come and watch it later because he's always jealous, wanting to know what's going on. Okay. Let's go over here. I'm going to zoom myself down into this tiny corner. Just going to check on my lovely friend Cole. You can't really see him down there, but he's hanging out today. These are CRTs that are for sale. And the way this works is I have all 5 of these ready to go, documented. There are 2 others that are ready to go, so there's 7 already together ready, okay? And my plan is to probably get 9 or 10 total. And so we'll go through at least, we're going to go through 5 in this stream, and then we'll have anywhere from 3 more to 5 more in the next stream. And there are going to be a mix, as I said earlier, of home TVs all the way up to pro PVMs. So I've spent all year acquiring certain models, trying to get things ready for this. And this is the big deal. This is the one time. I'm telling you, this is one of your best opportunities if you are in the Northeast area or coming to this Retro Gaming World Expo. This is going to be one of your best opportunities to get a serviced and really high quality CRT right there. And again, every one of these has been recapped pretty much. A lot of work done. Hey, Brent. Thanks for coming. Welcome in live. Welcome, Matthew. Yeah. James P., welcome in. So we're talking about sales. No, we're talking about the ones that I'm going to have for sale. All right. So number 1, let's do it. I'm going to pull up this photo album for this one, and let's get started. All right. Sony. The first one is a Sony KV-1936RH wood grain classic beauty. Okay. Here's the television once I purchased it, or actually this one was a donation. And you can see there is a video about the donation for this. And it was from a good friend of mine, Jeff. There's a fun video this last year that I've done. So this was the condition. Once I got it, it was not working. And this is a AC 120 volts, 60 hertz. It's an NTSC. The cool thing about this one is it is a manufactured in the USA CRT by Sony. It also has real wood interior. So that wood that is, I mean, it's not high grade oak. It's compressed board, but it's in good condition. And it's real wood. If you look in here, there's our mono speaker. 8 ohms, 1.5 watts. Sony. It is in good condition. This is the first opening of this interior. I will tell you that I don't have actual photos for some reason. I must have done this on the live stream where I recapped this board, but I did have to go in and completely recap this because, again, it didn't work. There was a lot of bad solder also. So this is just officially the initial documentation, inside look of this CRT. And we do have a short little clip here. Let's go through this clip.
I was talking about on stream earlier is one of the ones I recently picked up for free. Let's see if I can find that. I don't remember this somewhere. I can't find it down there. Where is it? All right. Well, it's right over there.
We're going to skip through some of this, I think. So,
capacitor down there a bit. And one of the things we did was we pulled a dodgy looking capacitor down there, and it just looked bad. It was cone shaped. Let me show you what it looks like when I pulled it out. So let's focus. There you go. You can tell it's a little dome shaped, but look at when I pulled it out, how much just gunk had oozed out of there. There's quite a few more caps like this on this board, so I'm going to change those out. Also got some solder that looks a bit dodgy on here. That's probably got some cold solder joints on this chassis. So anyway, in order to get this thing back to life, we're going to need better, more reliable.
okay, so that was a clip that at the time I had done the live stream and worked on this. Just to show the capacitors were in bad quality. We're going to go back to the photos now. And this is the board prior to being serviced. I went through it. I, of course, recapped it. And then this is what it looks like after. So I do have some post-servicing. This is going to last for a long time. This one is an awesome TV. It's got fresh solder on the entire board. And it works great. I also did get a CRT test done. I hope I have some pictures of that. Here we have just some pictures of this TV being used. You'll be able to see the TV as you use it and have it's on display. I wanted to show, okay, so the Trinitron, again, this is a made in the USA tube. It's a very cool thing. Not very often do you see that. Because this was another tube. This is a PVM tube, just as an example, made in Singapore. There were other places that manufactured it. Here's the neck board. Again, the same thing, getting a recap, getting a full solder reflow. And you can tell, I know it's like hard to see because, again, I didn't remember to get pictures of the top side of the board. But you can see in here, all these capacitors are marked, checked, new. They're all new, every single one in there. So, again, fully cleaned out interior. It's the one thing about this TV that you will note, it is RF only. Okay, there's no mods available. There's nothing else. It is a strictly RF set. It has great picture for RF, but you need to know that this is going to be an RF only set. This one is from the early 1980s, so that's the thing you have to note there. Then, if we look at the front, you do have the ability to use a remote control, so it is remote ready. There is a limited amount of picture controls, volume, and channel controls, and there's a door there that covers up some adjustments that you can make to your picture. It's a really quality screen. I know, like I said, it is only RF only, but it's great. Again, I tested the tube with the CRT tester, and it's got high quality, like a lot of life left in it. This one is going to be available again at the Retro World, and that's a quick snapshot of the inside of this beautiful 1936RH KV. It is pretty much museum quality, so there's not a single ding or scratch in the tube, just a note. Okay, so that's it for that one, guys. We're going to move on here now to another one. I'm going to check out the chat, and before we get started on the next one, what's up, Serrano? And yeah, there's a lot of great options to hook up these RF only TVs, and that one is, I mean, that one's going to be, it's not going to be hugely expensive, but it's probably going to be a few, I mean, it's going to be, I don't know the exact price on these. I'll get to more on what's going to happen about pricing and stuff at the end of the stream, because I'm just not ready to price them all yet. I'm not going to make the pricing unfair or anything. It's just going to be, for the most part, dependent on the level of TV. There's not going to be stuff. I'm not going to bring in CRTs and price them at a place that's not going to make them sell. I don't want to take them back with me, so, but they are going to be priced to reflect the amount of work that was done to them and the condition of them. So that's going to happen. All right. Let's go on now to number 2. Some retro guy, what's up? Why don't we switch over now and let's look at one of the higher quality CRTs. Higher quality CRTs that I'm bringing. The first PVM. We're going to start looking at PVM number 1. Now, before I get into this PVM and before I start this section, I want to make a special note. There was a PVM that looked identical to this one that was in my live stream with Zez the last couple times in the background. That one has sold to another Patreon member. I'm going to be taking that to him in Tennessee. This is not that monitor, so if you have to watch this screen, don't worry about it. This is not yours. This is another one. I had 2 of these. This is the second one. All right. This is a Sony PVM-1343MD. It is a 13-inch display screen, or 14-inch, however you want to say it, from Sony. They like to get in there and say those different measurements. The tube in here is the 20X tube. That is a 600 TV line, high-resolution Trinitron tube. This is the tube prior to the 800 line models. So they did not have 800 line TV tubes for, or sorry, CRTs for these PVMs back during this era. First off, the original tube in this monitor was scratched up pretty bad when I got it. The screen had multiple dings in it, and it even looked like somebody had written on it in, or scratched it with an ink pen accidentally. And so I had another tube that is the 20X tube, and I wanted to use it because it had a perfect screen, an absolutely perfect display front. So the first thing I did was I tested that tube. It is from my tube salvage yard, and here is that 20X tube taken from another PVM that was destroyed at some point. And this is my BK 467 tester where I tested the CRT. And this is the test results. If you look here, this is a probe thing, basically, this device that couples to the back of this tube. And then I used this device, which is a restored BK 467 CRT testing machine. And I tested the tube. These are the results. They are way good on all 3 color emissions. So it's well over the 1.5. That is pretty much, this TV tube or CRT is in like perfect condition. Okay. There's another look at the results. There's a look at the front of this screen to show that there's not any marks in it. There's nothing wrong with it. I obviously, when I removed the other, or when I changed the tube, I have to remove the old tube. So I did remove the old tube, every circuit board in here, and cleaned everything. There's the frame ready. There's just looks at the frame. Sometimes you want to make sure this old plastic, these parts right in here will break sometimes. So it's always good if you're able to inspect the integrity of these posts just to make sure everything's good. This bezel's in great shape, not a crack on it. It does have some faded paint, but that's pretty normal for this era. We'll see that in a minute. The bottom plate is not destroyed, no cracks, no broken feet on it. Good shape there. There's another look at it. You'll have, oftentimes on the bottom of these, you'll have breaks at this point and this point right here. Obviously, we have a good bottom here. It's not perfect, but it's in nice shape. Fully there, fully able to withstand all the normal wear and tear of movement. If you see here, this is going to be a look at the front side of the bezel. As I said, there are normal scratches on here. And this is probably the reason the tube was damaged that was in there originally. It's just scratches on the front of it. Okay? All that's been cleaned. Everything's been cleaned. Here's the main board. Now, this is an extensive capacitor kit. Within the file, you will see a list of every capacitor that was changed in this monitor. So there's a full list of that. And the cap kit that's done on this, on the main board that you're looking at now, is the deflection capacitor kit. So it covers all the deflection capacitors. We do not change all these other capacitors that are not in the high heat zone up here of the board or over here. The deflection capacitors are all going to be pretty much on this, from like, it's like if this line of capacitors is the Mississippi River in the United States, everything on the east side over here is getting serviced. Everything on this side is getting inspected. And if there's not an issue and the capacitors are not in bad shape, I leave them alone. They are not really needed to be changed. I could change them, but that would double the price of the monitor because it's just double the work. However, I want you to understand they are in good shape. They're all checked out and inspected. There's no issues with them. So this is some photographs of the board after the capacitors have been removed from the kit. So you'll have pictures here of every spot where a deflection capacitor was removed. And then these spots were cleaned. And that's all of them. And on this board alone, it's about 44 deflection capacitors. That's all of them right there. Then we look at the back side of the board. And what we have here is the service board. And this shows, I always like to show pictures of my solder work after reinstalling some capacitors. These boards are cleaned. I also reflow solder on larger portions of these boards, but like these are capacitors I changed, and you can tell. I mean, I try to do the best I can on solder reflowing, solder rework. I do all these junctions, anything that looks like it needed reflowing on solder and that the solder was breaking down. I visually inspected every one of these, every single one of these joints or these solder points to make sure they still looked good. If they needed touching up, I touched them up and cleaned the whole board. And these are just more pictures that you'll be able to access in the folder of your CRT if you want to look at them further in depth. They show the service board after. Here's all the capacitors that have been changed and then marked. They have been verified 3 times to make sure they are in the right polarity direction, they are the right valued capacitor, and every one of these capacitors is a higher quality than it was used originally and has modern technology in it. Some of these are upgrades for voltages, and all of them are upgrades for temperature ratings. So here's just a closer look at all these potentiometers and capacitors. When you adjust this CRT, it's done through these potentiometers right here for deflection. See how it says deflection adjustment? That's how you adjust your screen settings for geometry. And every one of those potentiometers has also had the solder reflow to make sure that the connections are good and that when you adjust them by sticking a screwdriver into there, that you don't push it. You can't push it too hard and break solder and open a connection point there and cause a failure on your CRT. Okay? I've pretty much done everything I can to make sure that you can't screw it up if you want to get in here and adjust your CRT. All right, here's just more looks at every single capacitor. This is the input board on the back of the monitor. I apologize. It has had the modification done right here for the audio modification. So this CRT, you can get audio support over your RGB input by connecting a mono audio cable into the line A input for your audio. It's a modification that's available. I will tell you though, that if you plan on using the digital video input on this monitor, you need to take this board out. It's easy to get to. You have to take that board out, and you have to reinsert this. So that's why I do it like this, so that you can just, if you want to use this monitor, can be used with very old school computers that spend out like Amigas. I don't have any of these things, but if you happen to be a retro PC enthusiast and you have an Amiga or a Commodore computer that puts out some kind of retro digital video, this is not high resolution video like 480p resolution and up. It does not accept that. This is a digital video that was done in the 1980s. You'll know the device if you have one. You may need to go in here and replug this into this hole and just sit it down in there, because this audio mod can mess with the functionality of that supposedly. Okay, so that's the directions. If you need to get this out and reinsert that, that mod can be easily undone. There's another picture of it. This is the back side of that board right there. Okay, and there's the back side of that input board. There are release points on the back of there, so there's one release point on each side. You can just pop that off with the monitor unplugged, get that board out, and disconnect the cabling where it attaches to that main board right there, and undo that modification. There's the digital RGB input on the back here if you do have a use for it. It looks like a VGA input. Now we're going to look at just some photographs of it. That was the first board that was serviced. We have the power supply, which is a direct power supply that was also recapped. It's about 10 capacitors on that one that were changed, and the others were in good shape. These gigantic filter capacitors show really no signs of aging. It's insane. I don't know how they do it, but they're so nice that they work incredibly long. And this is the cleaned, solder redone board. Every single solder point on here is reflowed because this is high voltage, high heat, and I got to make it so it lasts a long time. Here's a lot of pictures I've rolled through here that are available to you should you want to in closely and see the after results. Here's all the capacitors. They are marked, the ones that have been changed. And just for everybody to laugh, yes, I did accidentally get a picture of my foot in there. Oh, lovely. Classic. So there's the reassembled power supply. And then finally, the last board is the neck board. It gets a recap. There's only one cap on there. I did upgrade it to a much higher value capacitor because that's also a high heat board. And there we go. We have geometry adjusted. These screens can get a wonderful picture. A wonderful picture. Like, I'm often blown away by how good at the dial in you can do on these screens. This is RGB. You'll be able to see this in person. It looks so awesome. The colors, there's 2 color palettes or temperature settings. They're almost perfect. The scan lines are amazing on this thing. Analog video looks so awesome on it. You'll be able to see all this live. It's just photos of the after look of this. And there's the back shell. There's the inside shell. Everything there, all ready to go. Let's see this one. I leave these little printed, extra stickers on them whenever I see them. I don't clean those off, but everything else has been cleaned. This particular one is from 1991, August, so it's just had a birthday. Just had a birthday, turned 24. It is UL listed for medical and dental work. Back input board. Again, here's the RGB analog input that you're going to want to use if you're going to use RGB video. There's obviously S video, and there's line A and B, which do composite video. You do not need to be using any kind of terminators with this monitor. It automatically terminates. so you don't have to use auto, or it terminates on its own. And when you want to use your audio with your RGB analog video, this is where you plug it in with the modification, okay? You can daisy chain out video on any of these that are available into another device, but you have to make sure that that final device is terminated. Yeah, 34, not 24. Man, I'm up. Thank you for the correction, guys. I'm off on that. I'm thinking it's 2010, 15. Gosh, the good old days. So this VTR input is a proprietary Sony input that you can use Betamax or Sony VCRs from that time period. Just note this is only going to give you composite video quality, but that is a Sony proprietary system that they wanted to make an interchangeable, fancier looking plug to go with all their devices when it came to commercial equipment of the 1980s. So that's what the VTR is. You may come across a device that has a VTR system. If you want to try it, this is VTR acceptable. You daisy chain that input with the S-Video input. So you can only use one at a time. There's another look at the shell. It's in pretty good shape considering, again, it's 34-year-old age. Everything's good here, solid. Not a single ding on the screen. It's beautiful. Here's that front panel. And please note that if you need help, I will be on site when you buy this to show you how to use the front of it. So don't worry. We're not going to kind of go through that. But this is your input selection board right here. And this is your sync. So you have to make sure you're in whatever sync mode you need, right? So if you're analog sync, you got to make sure that's pressed. Oh yeah, this every other like video signal is good. Now I will note on this specific one, it is very sensitive, or was originally sensitive to composite video colored. So this is the potentiometer that's on the side that if you ever have any issues with the screen color on either a PAL or CCAM device, this is the potentiometer that we can make an adjustment on, and you can reach back out to me and I can help you do that through a video chat. This is probably not going to be ever a situation, but just in case it does happen, this is that potentiometer. And that's the last final photograph of this amazing PVM. This is going to be one of the better looking, best looking probably PVMs that's going to be there because it has that perfect size screen. And it can really get great geometry. It's been dialed in so well, and the colors, everything's been dialed in on this after I went through and did the restoration. And no, there is no service menu on this particular model. However, if you look here, this is actually composite video, so you could still even see, sorry, if you look down here, well, you can see I'm using, no, this is actually S-Video, but it is using NTSC. So this one can pick up multiple region video, but it looks really good on that other analog settings. Okay, so it's a great looking monitor. It's not going to have any issues, you know, the service menu. It's dialed in nicely. Really shouldn't need anything for a couple years, ideally. So that's the end of that one. Now, guys, I'm going to take a quick 2-second break to go to the bathroom, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So I'm not like leaving the stream or anything. I'm going to walk out the door literally and go. Been drinking too much water and coffee this morning. And we'll move. We will move on to the next one, okay? Let me see what we've got. I'll go ahead and pull the main picture up so you can take a look at it. Let's go over. I have one more PVM ready, and that's what we're going to start on when I get back. And this one is actually a 20-inch PVM So all you out there who've been like, I wish I could have a 20-inch PVM, this is finally what I'm bringing. Finally what I'm bringing. And, all right, Felix, I got your message, buddy. Please, don't spam it. I don't want to put you in timeout. Just maybe I'll make a video on that one day. Right now we're talking about the immediate future. Won't happen till a good while. I have to teach things as they come up in the shop. So if I come into a CRT that actually has a barrel effect, that's when I'll be working on it. So you just have to like stay tuned. All right. We're going to get into this one in a second. I have to go take a restroom break. I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, let's get rid of the jazz, cut that off, and now we're going to get started on this 20-inch PVM. Now, I do have to say this too, okay? So I did, somebody was asking about like barrel distortion. Guys, my greatest, this can actually work out, okay? The greatest way to make anything like that, like if you want a barrel distortion video, this would be a good explanation. You can go click the link in the description of this live stream. You can join Patreon and you can get on to the CRT service level, and then you can schedule your CRT to be sent here to my shop professionally. You can bring it in yourself, or again, if you're in the United States, you can send that in. We do have shipping options through UShip. So you can send that in, and I can actually work on your specific CRT with barrel distortion and make a video about it. So your TV will get featured, and we can solve the barrel distortion together, and you can get it fixed, and you can support Retro Tech and the awesome services here done. And that's how you can do that. All right, let's jump in. Hey, Carlos, welcome. Hello, everybody. If you're just joining us now, please do me a favor, drop a like so that we can have the algorithm push this thing and people will know we're live. We've got a couple more CRTs to go through. Now we're going to look at, this is a Sony PVM-20N6U. And this is a first look inside of it. So it has a 20-inch Trinitron tube. It's advertised as 500 lines. However, it's the same tube that is in a 600 line L series. So this is one of those instances where Sony did a little funny business on describing their TVs and marketing. So or their PVMs. So this one is between 500 and 600 TV lines on the resolution, and it's not nearly as built out as the others. It's got a power supply board built together with the deflection board down here, and then obviously a neck board. Here's the TV tube number. This is made in Japan. It's the 11X, and it does have a nice deflection yoke. This is a 1999. The 1999 version, June 20N6U. There you go. So this one, I just documented taking it apart, and everything had to be cleaned. Here's the board. I also did a full deflection and power board kit and neck board cap kit here on this one. These are the actual board numbers. There are some variations. There are some variations of this particular model. There's actually tons of variations. So I put the model's exact circuit board in here in case you have any questions and you want to reference your specific version with a service model. I'm sorry, a service manual. Here's all the documentation. This is like the A1331828A production run of the board. Okay, this is the CB board, the neck board. What you'll notice, this is that late 90s. Something was going on with a lot of the solder from that time. All that solder needs to be touched up. So that was done. Here's some before looks at this main board. A lot of good quality parts, but a lot of rework needs to be done on the back sides of these boards. And you have to be careful because they're dual-sided, where there's a lot of surface mount components on both sides. But that's all there for your review. Here's some action shots of me reflowing the solder on your board. Look at that. Just lovely hands-free action shots there. There's the two capacitors. Again, all these photos are available for further viewing in your file with your CRT. This is the aftermath. You have nice high quality solder bulbs on every point, so you should not have any issues with a solder breakdown and a weak solder joint cracking and causing an issue. This is the deflection power board capacitor kit. It's all one board. You will see random capacitors that are skipped over. For example, this is an audio capacitor that's in good condition, no point in changing it. These are all deflection and power capacitors that are removed, changed, cleaned out. For further review, here's the back of the tube area, cleaned out. There's your model number if you need it on your deflection yoke. Here's the finished board. We have a look at the bottom side. You also can tell that these points along here where there's a connection made with a cable have been reflowed on solder. This area is blocked off in the white. And then anything else that needed solder has been touched up. I don't feel that there's a lot of things in here to look at. Aside from obviously review, the good capacitors have all been checked out and marked, replaced. Same thing with the neck board. Here's the shell. It's in good shape. Now, I did have to replace something, and I'll show you it in a second. I just like to have full documentation on everything. So if we look back here, this, when I received this PVM, this piece of plastic that housed the input board was broken. So I did have to go to my salvage yard and I found this input board, but it did not have, it wasn't one that had RGB support. Now the plastic molding's the same, so the holes are already punched out behind this black overlay. So I did cut out those holes. I will put little stickers that say RGB and sync down here in audio. So that's not on there yet. But that's the only difference here. I did have to use that from another unit because the original was cracked. But now you have a full brand new thing here, but you can see where it doesn't have the original markings for the input board there in RGB, but you do go a red, green, blue, and then sync right here. This is your audio. This one down here is a remote input. So this is only for external remote control on a remote system, so don't worry about that one. All right, there's the neck board, there's your anode cap, and this is the cleaned insides. Now I also ran a CRT test. To this particular model, I don't have an adapter directly for the tube, but I can hook up my universal adapter, which is what you see here. This is testing each color line, each heater line, and each ground line, and it's testing for two things. It's testing for shorts in the tube, and then it's testing the emissions of each color. Hey, Scott! Dude, you're awesome. I'm going to give Scott a shout out here in a second, proper shout out. But here's that test rolling. And I'm going to show you, this is set up, so this is not the actual results. Here's the results when the test is run. Again, we're at that 1.5 and above, 1.4, 1.5 and above. Great condition on the tube and the gun. There you go. There's some more pictures of that demo. And then we've got some awesome stuff here. Just photographs of this running. You'll see this at the convention, but everything's been set here. Really great geometry again. It's not perfect. It's not as perfect as the 13-inch, but it looks darn good. You'll see the corners. Really nice convergence on this screen. The focus is awesome. The colors are really nice. You will notice the green is a little bit up. That's fully adjustable in this set, but it's so white balanced, it's not anything to worry about. And sometimes the camera can be misleading and make it look a little bit more hot on green than it actually is. Amazing, just amazing. This is called the linearity. So the idea here is having circles look like circles and not ovals or wonkiness. So this is a really nice screen. Metroid, scanline action, 20-incher, Trinitron goodness. There is one small thing I need to show you. Actually, a couple things. I have not also got an emblem here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the emblem. Not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to either find a replacement or what. We'll find an aftermarket one or something. There's the back. There are a little bit of scratches on it. Nothing too major. This obviously has an input board. I have a full video, thankfully, on how to adjust and work your way through this menu system on this CRT. So I have a full tutorial on how to use this TV if you need it. This is the problem, and this is going to be a discounted point on this TV or this tube. Sorry, I keep calling it TV even though it's a PVM. There is a little nick in the glass. There is a little imperfection right here, and I can't get it out. You can see kind of that little imperfection right there when it's turned off. And, you know, I don't know if you'll be able to see it so well when you're actually watching this TV or the screen in use. That's the one problem with it. So it is going to be hundreds of dollars discounted for that. But it's still going to cost a good amount of money for being a 20-inch fully restored PVM aside from that. So that is everything on this amazing, cool Trinitron. And we'll move on from that file. Now, thank you, Scott. Scott Reisig just dropped a $100 super chat. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. You are incredible. He's a long time Patreon supporter and done so many things. He always comes, hangs out at Retro World. So we already talked. Hopefully he'll be there hanging out. I hope you are. Thank you for your awesome super chat, brother. I really appreciate it. And man, that's a big one. So thank you very much. The mat, yeah, these are Gamers Nexus mod mats. They're not even mod mats, actually. They're old PC part mats that I build on. And they didn't have mod mats when I bought them, but I invested in a bunch of them because I like the mats. They're just super great. You can use them to, they're high quality and mod. You can mod on them and stuff, so they've always been good. But then I've had them for a long time. There's like half the stuff's worn off them. But as far as the mats go, they're great mats. The Gamers Nexus mod mats. All right, guys. So yeah, thanks again, Scott. I hope we get to hang out. Scott had a couple of CRTs worked on by me in the past, quite a few. So always good to see him in the chat. Thank you. Yes, Shifty, that's a good idea. Said replacement speakers. Yeah, if you can get the right size, you can pull them off old speakers. You can pull them off old Sony devices if you get the right dimensions. It's hard sometimes to match up the dimensions perfectly, but you can. There's also some people who secretly print high quality replacements like stickers that are 3-dimensional, so they have some lift to them and they're nice enough as a replacement. They're not perfect because they're not made out of metal. The originals are made out of like aluminum or some type of lower grade metal, 10 something, and then they're painted. Yeah, Jake, I don't know, like I haven't dropped, like you can drop the thing on it for a second, but yeah, they aren't, I mean, they're literally rubber. They make actual mod mats now. Gamers Nexus does. This was, I bought these, golly, 4 years ago or something. All right. So let's continue on. Let's move on. Now we have 2 more TVs to probably run through, and then we're going to end the stream. The next 2 shouldn't take nearly as long. These are consumer grade TVs again, and we'll go through them right now. So let me start with a different picture here. So what we've got first off is, let's start with this picture. This is a Sylvania flat screen 20-inch television, okay? This is nothing that's like off the charts amazing. It's pretty standard TV, but I again want to have I want to have options for people who are not looking to drop $300 to $300 up to $1,500 on a TV. I want to have some options at the lower end, under $200 for people to get serviced, restored, clean CRTs. So that's what I've got available, is like the under 200 club. And that's what we're going to be looking at for these. Now, first off, this is remote ready. Sylvania, again, is the brand. I'm going to show you all the innards here. Skinner's innards. Let's go back to the beginning because that's the... that is our TV. This is the main board from that TV. Wow. Look at it. Very much minuscule compared to the PVMs you just checked out. Okay. Yeah, options are great. So this is the option. You have an option if you just want to go in and, hey, man, I want to be getting into retro gaming. I don't have to get $1,000 in equipment. I can go get a restored RF or composite version television, play these systems right out of the box. And if I want to upgrade down the road to a larger, higher-end CRT, I can do that or jump into some other thing. Bob, I don't know, man. There's probably not as many rednecks around anymore in the CRT stream. I'm not sure. So, this is one of these entry-level TVs. I went through and still treated it with as much love and compassion as it deserved, okay? So I recapped it. I'm going to give you a cap list. I didn't go through and recap the entire thing. It has a but it did have a lot of these. They're these Sui Suscon. They're like the worst named capacitor brand I've ever heard. Suscon, right? Anyway, I did the full deflection block, the power block here. I cleaned out the inside. There's your Funai tube. Those of you who knew the extras knew it was Funai. And yes, I'll tell you that in a second, Jake. I checked all these sets to see if modifications of any type were available. Okay. So this one, again, there's the neck and all that gear as far as yoke, your rings of justice, rings of doom, convergence rings. Now this one had a crappy speaker in it. So this is, now here you go. Here's your upgrade of the day. Okay. This is the only modification upgrade. This is such a ridiculous thing to even call it an upgrade, but whatever. I'll show it to you in a second. Here's your tube. Here's your reassembled, I can't even talk. Restored, reassembled television. One thing I want you to notice is this lovely thing. The original speaker was crap in this. It was garbage. So you deserve the best on this Funai television. I have upgraded the speaker on this system to have a PVM speaker. That is a real Sony PVM professional speaker that is installed in your television. So you have commercial grade Sony equipment installed in your awesome Sylvania TV set. So it's nothing huge, but it is cool. The sound is a little bit better, and you do have a piece of professional equipment salvaged and installed in your awesome CRT. So that's a little fun thing I added in there. This set is composite video supported, mono audio supported, and RF supported. It is not modifiable at this time. Okay? Not modifiable. The problem here is this is a later mid 2000s TV set, and it is all the information for everything on the Jungle 2, which you have to have an OSD chip and a Jungle chip, or a control chip and a Jungle chip to do an RGB mod with a MUX kit. This does all that within a single chip. It's not modifiable, unfortunately. Again, this is when they just cut corners, cut costs. No S-video on this one. No, it is very much going to be entry basic level. Now, that does not, somebody's going to look at this and fall in love with it because I've adjusted it to the point where I could get it as sharp and as good looking, and the caps, everything cleaned up, looking as good as possible. So, somebody's going to see this and it's going to remind them of their home TV set when they were a kid, and they're going to have a great experience on it. Okay? Because again, it's not going to be expensive. It's going to be fully restored and it's ready to go. This one can be done with a remote control. There's a service menu on this model because it's older or newer than the others. And it's very light. It's probably the lightest and easiest to move 20-inch CRT that you will see. Very easy. Let's see, do we have any more photos of it? I mean, look at that. Guys, that's composite video. You'll see this in person. Of course it's not perfect. It's composite video, but it looks very good. Especially for it being a flat screen. You do have some convergence issues, of course, in the corners. But this is just to get your feet wet into the CRT stratosphere. Very good color. Very good linearity. Of course it's not PVM quality, but it's pretty darn good for a CRT. So I hope you're happy with it and you enjoy it. And that's a look at your lovely bargain Sylvania. All right, guys. Thanks again, everybody, for coming in and having some fun during the middle of that one. Oni, welcome in. Let's see. Had Bob hang out for a little while. That was fun. Bob will be there trying to sell my CRTs for me, so come by and say goodbye. I mean, that's the cool thing. You could, if you just want to do something fun, you could come buy a $100 13-inch RF TV and literally have all of us from the Retro World sign it for you. We can bring a big Sharpie and just sign your TV. You can go get it autographed by, I don't know who else is going to be there. But you could definitely get a CRT like this and just go have fun and get it all autographed. You know, I think that would be cool. All right. CRT number 4 is done. You guys have gone through. Some of you have been here the whole time. That is awesome. Hope you've been enjoying the stream. We have been going for an hour. Booze in his soda cup. I tell you, yeah, we'll be lucky if we can maintain our composure that weekend. Ooh. All right. The last of the CRTs. Now this is the ultimate basement. Yeah. 8-Bit Esquire will be there charging for autographs. He's got a retainer to meet, you know. He's got to keep, we got to pay him to just hang out and pretend like pretend like he's our friend so he doesn't go all Dr. Gonzo on us. All right. So this one is a Magnavox. This is I think early 90s Magnavox, 13-inch. And guys, this one is RF only too. This is going to be one of the cheapest ones there. This is a lovely look at this thing before I got my hands on it and really started working my magic. There's a lot of hardware in here. It is a very well-built TV. Very well-built TV. Again, RF only, though. This is just to document everything. It's a pretty... this chassis was used in a lot of TVs in this time period. The problem is it is highly not moddable. Also, the reason being it is what they call hot chassis. Hot chassis. You do not want to modify this because it is trying to make a ground circuit through your wall and through the circuit in your wall. So there's not any isolation ground transformer on this that isolates the power. So making a mod can have disastrous results where a short out can send high voltage to the modification inputs. So you could electrocute yourself by connecting a hot chassis mod, connecting like an AV cable. You could zap yourself or do all kinds of stuff. So this is not modifiable at this time. It is still a awesome high quality chassis. You can tell it is way more complex than the one we just looked at. So there was a time here where they couldn't get away with just every shortcut in the book. They did simplify this a lot compared to others, but it's still got the same level of love as every other TV set you've seen so far, which means a capacitor kit has done on it. Look at this. This will tell you how good of, yes, this tells you how good manufacturing quality this TV was. The capacitors, look at them. They are Nishikon. Every one of them was high quality Nishikon capacitors. And these are the good ones. They're 85 degrees, but these were simply great for the time period. So I replaced them with great capacitors, the ones that were bigger, higher capacitance that wear out sooner. I wanted to have some restoration work done on those. So those are marked. Cap kit is made. There's your deflection cap kit. All these pictures are available in the folder. And there you go. So this one just is awesome. I mean, if you're going to have something, I don't know. You never know what anybody will want. Again, this just gives you that homey feel that if you had this TV as growing up as a kid and you need a TV, this thing is tiny. It can fit in your carry-on on your flight. You could take this sucker home with you. It is lovely, beautiful, and clean on the inside and out. There's my reflection, and there's the model number and the chassis number. Again, there's a reason behind each one of these not being modifiable. I've researched everything that I could to like upgrade them and do everything I can. But this one is, there's just nothing you can do to it except for enjoy it as it is. And there you go. RF right there. Easy to connect to, easy to use. Lovely little Philips Magnavox retro restored television. All right, everybody. That is all the TVs, all 5 of those TVs, okay, and CRTs. Now, if you're still with me and you want to know, thank you for the super chat, Jake. I'll get back to you in a second. If you want to know what my plan is I'm going to have the documentation drive folders published on all the CRTs that are ready, which I'm hoping to have 10 ready by the final week of August. And then here's my plan is I'm going to have the documentation ready on the drive folders, and we will have those drive folders will be ready and they will be published. I'll make a Patreon post and I'll give every Patreon member an opportunity if they want to pre-buy these CRTs for some reason. If you're going to Retro World and you want to reserve one of these, I will do pre-reservations through Patreon, all posted within 3 weeks of today. So by the end of August, I'll have all that posted, put together, and you'll be able to go in there. And if you decide you love one of these CRTs and you got to have it, and you're on Patreon, you'll be able to DM me directly and reserve it right then and there. And then you can pick it up, or if you want to arrange some kind of shipping, if you're not actually going, I will have that available. That doesn't normally tend to happen. Honestly, most of the time, I will have 1 or 2 people reach out and maybe buy one of them. But if that even happens, I still have 8 more to go, and I have a few more in the vault. If I have more time, I'll even bring more than 10. All right. Lick your finger and touch the chip. Oh, boy. Can tell the chat's really going to pause. Gone beyond my head. All right, Jake is way black. Has given us a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jake. I absolutely appreciate your super chat and your question here. It says, hey, quick question. When looking up schematics, what is the easiest way to determine a juggle IC uses TTL RGB with analog RGB? When it says 0 volts or 0.7 next to the pins, is that all these T2L? Thanks. I don't know. And are you good universal answer for you there? I can tell you that I ran into this trouble yesterday, and it's with this TV that I haven't featured yet because it's halfway worked on. But this one really threw me for a loop, and I'll show you why. Jake, since you got the super chat here, I'll show you why. I was attempting, this is a, I was attempting to RGB mod this TV. This is a sharp 19-inch screen. I thought it was going to be RGB moddable because it was very similar to a build out of one prior chassis to this one. So there wasn't a guide available, but I found everywhere on the board where red, green, and blue. That's actually what this is. This is the green point, blue point, and red point that you had to inject your colors. And then I even found the blanking point. I went and replaced the resistor that the blanking line was coming out of the chip. So this was a 2-chip design again. I found 5 volts on the board. And here's the RGB in. But check it out. Like you said, here's zeros on my chip. This was completely undoable. Unmodifiable. Okay? And so I thought I could just go in here and tap into these RGB lines, but what it's doing is this is actually using a digital RGB on this stupid chip right here. I learned this the hard way by trying the modification, posting about it, and my friend Six Tanks, or Matt Ross, over on Twitter was like, hey dude, unfortunately it's not going to work because this is a digital RGB chip, or a digital RGB signal going in through this OSD. And what that simply means is there's no decoupling. It's not analog, so you can't send out a usable analog RGB over these lines. So generally speaking, he told me the best sign is if you get this far into this project, like me, where you're looking at this and you find a good one, it will have coupling lines where the RGB go in. You'll have coupling lines where it'll list a capacitor, generally speaking. So you need to look for that capacitor on the sheets, or you'll be like me and you'll get tricked thinking you've got everything there. And you can see me. I did all the mod work. Here's where I removed. So this line 22 is where the OSD line was coming out. And there was a resistor here. And the idea of this mod is to put in a like different value resistor so that a different value comes through here and activates the mux whenever you plug in the SCART signal and you turn on your console or your device in the video socket input. So you replace it to a different value resistor there, and then you use a diode, and the diode is there to prevent the voltage coming from your console and going back into this chip and damaging this chip. So it's like it can't send that voltage backwards into the chip and voltage spike your chip and damage it, which could happen. It's not a guarantee to happen. But that's why you put the diode on that line. And then see, I tied in my conductors, my ground, my audio, my video composite sync. There's my ground up here. There's my 3 lines for RGB. And there's my blanking line. So I had figured all this out and plugged it up, and it just didn't work. Like nothing on the screen. Started acting funny sometimes, actually, when I plugged in the SCART. So I just had to remove it and set the TV back. So this is another one that looks like it's RGB moddable, but since it has a digital chip there, even though it looks like it should be, it's not. The best thing I can tell you is for right now, attempt to find a TV that has a guide that's actually there. Those TVs are becoming more valuable to me. Ones that actually can be RGB modded, because these look like they should be RGB moddable, but they just don't have the capabilities for our RGB mods at this time. It gives you digital RGB. Yeah. So maybe you could do a digital RGB mod to these kind of sets and get that stupid hook up your Commodore or Amiga. Oh yeah. No, Bob and I, Ronnie, are good, like, good buddies. You don't have to worry about anything. He's totally welcome to bust my balls because I bust his, okay? So we kind of do that in retro. If we love you and you're in the club, you're allowed to break balls, break bread. Roger's the only... Lewis will do, we could probably get Lewis to do live video cameos or something to try to get diaper funding for his twins and his honeymoon. Oh, guys, so here's the other thing Bob and I have been secretly talking about. Nothing's guaranteed. He's going to probably hate me for saying this. But if you come by, we're going to try to live stream the event at meow. We're gonna try to live stream the event while we're there, so we'll try that. I'm not guaranteeing, you never know with this stuff, but we would love to be able to live stream, and I would love to have it where we could just have live streams going at Retro World at our booth if that's possible. But I don't know, man. 10 CRTs, lots of people. I don't know how we're gonna have to have a whole damn wall, like 15 booths by the end of this, by the time it's Retro World 20. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I mean, really excited. I think that will be awesome. And Bob, hopefully, and I can like set it up where it's like we stream blocks from each channel. Like you could come here for a 4-hour block and there for a 4-hour block and back and forth and back and forth. so we can keep it live, or maybe we'll just keep like a live. If we could even set up, man, imagine if we could set up like 2 live streams. I don't know. We'll see. So now I'm getting way too crazy. Are you planning to do a repair workshop? So there is going to be a workshop. It's a 1-hour workshop. It's open to all attendees of Retro World. It will be Saturday, but it is going to be a it's not going to be a hugely open workshop. It is going to have a section of about 30 minutes of that workshop. I'm opening it up to the audience, where I will have audience participation available, where if you have something specific that, oh yeah, Roger's channel, that's even better. I like that. Anyway, if you have something specific, imagine if we just did like a live takeover. We took over Roger's channel live and that's it. That would be funny. And like he abandoned it. We won't even, oh, that's a good idea. So anyway, Brent, sorry. Yes, it's a 1-hour workshop. It's got 15 to 20 minute introduction of me talking about CRT, CRT safety, CRT beginner level stuff. And then I'm going to open it up to where I'll have CRTs on the spot that we can work on, we can demonstrate and do some workshop level, like brief exercises with those TVs to simulate problems, simulate repair adjustments mostly, talk about that kind of stuff. That's going to be the level of this one. I will try to speak with Lance to see if maybe there's some kind of like higher level eventually course that could be set up, but that would again require a longer investment from you to be in attendance and for me to be on my game to work through. So that would probably be something that would cost additionally, similar to what Tito's doing. So if you want an awesome workshop, go to Tito's screen workshop that he is hosting. I think this is like a new thing. I want as many people to go to that and like fill that up. And then I want to talk to Lance about bringing a CRT workshop for 2026 if he has me back. So we like where you could do that same kind of thing, sign up, have a multi-hour block to work on CRTs, and we'll do something a little bit more in depth, meant to emulate something, again, more in-depth workshop level that you are going to pay for, but you're going to walk away with something very valuable and an experience that you can't get really anywhere in the country right now. Yeah, it is in Connecticut. Yeah, PO17, you need to come to the show too, man. Talk CRTs. Everybody, if you don't have to do all that. If you're going to be at the show any day, Friday through Sunday, you can stop by our booth, say hello, talk to us, talk about CRTs. We love doing it. Other retro stuff, horses, meows, cats, cables. I think that we will have representatives from the recently acquired Retro Access, so Kyle should be on site. And I'm going to have so many things hooked up to CRTs. You're going to get to see at least every single examples of everybody who makes cables for retro gaming. I will have a set there on site. Yeah, Ronnie, I know, man. I have to drive all these CRTs up myself, and it takes me like 8 or 9 hours to get there from Virginia. So it's a freaking pain in the neck. But yeah, I mean, Bob and I are like, we love meeting people. We love hanging out. And this is like the big one every year that we do. We put in like our heart and soul into this thing. And we really do love meeting people. And even if you come by every year and say hello, we love talking to you. And, you know, it's even cooler actually to have people come back and again, a year and stop by and say a couple things about what they're working on. So we always love that. Guys, I appreciate your time today. I want you all to have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, everybody, for the awesome super chats. And again, if you're interested in these CRTs and you're on Patreon, look for the super post that's coming at the end of the month. I plan to have another stream coming soon with the second half of the reveal on these CRTs. And whatever you do, you know, just keep your things posted on this, or keep your eye on this channel, and you'll see what's going on. And that'll be it. That'll be it for today. Again, thank you so much for your time. If you just made it to the broadcast at this point, please consider going back and watching from the beginning if you want to see the CRTs that are for sale. You'll have a wonderful day.